All right, so imagine this. Imagine that you contact a builder, right, to build a house. And you go to the bank and you get funding and you get financed and you get the whole 9 yards. And you call the builder up and you say, I've got $500,000 and I want you to build me a house. And the builder says, okay, sure. What kind of house would you like? And you go, I don't know. One that $500,000 buys. And the builder goes, okay. So a couple of weeks later, you go cruising by and you see the builder and he's out front and he's, laying bricks. And you say, well, what you building? And he goes, I don't know. I'm just stacking bricks. I figured it'll just be whatever it is at the end. Now here's my question. Would you buy that house? No. In fact, the builder would never even start unless you had an idea of what you wanted. You were able to clearly communicate that to him, and he was able to create a plan, right? A detailed plan, a blueprint for what that home was going to look like. He wouldn't lay the first brick until he was crystal clear in his mind what the end product was going to be. And you would never have gotten funding or even hired a builder if you didn't have a crystal clear image in your mind of what the finished product was going to be. Now, you might tweak it a little bit here or there along in the process. You might decide to go with wood floors instead of tile or something like that. But the 5-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2-story, 3,200 square feet, all that, none of that's going to change. My point to you is simply this. So many people go through their lives with absolutely no plan. They've got no idea where it's going to go. And they're sitting there in their daily lives, on their way to work, going to a job that they never planned for, didn't intend to have, and don't really like, to work with people that they don't really want to be with, to go home and be with a family that they just somehow ended up with a number of kids that they never really planned on, doing something on the weekend with guys that they're just friends with because they happen to be across the street. My point is that so many people are just kind of bumbling and fumbling their way through life, and it's because they have no direction. The reason why they have no direction is because they didn't have a plan going in. But that's not for you. Because, see, you're an achiever. You wouldn't even be listening to this if you weren't. And achievers know that you've got to have the finished product in mind before you even start. Why would you take a job unless you knew where it was going to lead you? Why would you get involved in a relationship unless you knew where you wanted that to go? Or why in the world would you begin exercising unless you had an idea of what you wanted your body to look like? Why would you go to school to get a degree unless you had an idea of what you wanted to do with it? You see, you need to have a plan, because if not, you'll become a wandering generality, stumbling, bumbling, and fumbling your way through life. If you have no destination, then you'll never know if you got there. And it won't matter where you end up anyway, because you had nothing in mind to start. But see, when you have a destination, your brain will put together the pieces. Your subconscious mind will put the pieces together to take you there. But you've got to have a vision of the end result. And that's really what goal setting is all about. I've heard all of these lessons on goal setting. You got to learn to set your goals. You got to write your goals down. And all those things are true, and I don't knock it. But forever I thought, what is the big deal about all this goal setting business? I just want to make more money. I just want to make more money. I've done seminars, and I actually heard this. I wish I could remember. Oh, it was Larry Wingett who talked about doing this, and I've done it too, and it's fun, right? You get people in a room, and you tell them, you say, like, okay, how many of you want to make more money? And everybody raises their hand. You say, great, you, sir, come on up here. And you take $1 out of your pocket, and you hand it to them. And you say, now everybody please congratulate Bob on making more money. And everybody claps. And Bob looks at you like, what? Well, yes, Bob, you now have more money than you had when you walked in. You have exactly $1 more than you had before. You've accomplished your goal. You've made more money. And Bob goes, well, it's not really what I meant. What did you mean? You see, you can't say, I just want to make more money. You got to know, how much more do you want to make, and by when, and in what way? You can't say, I want to lose weight. Well, how much weight? And by when? What do you want to look like when you're done? You see, when you've got these kinds of goals, when you've got specific, quantifiable goals with a deadline, with a drop-dead date, your subconscious mind now has a program, just like a GPS. If If you tell a GPS a specific address and a time you want to be there, it will tell you when to leave and turn-by-turn directions how to get there. Your subconscious mind works very, very much the same way. But without putting in a destination, what's the GPS tell you? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that's what happens to your subconscious mind. Without any direction, it doesn't tell you anything. So the idea of writing down your goals and having specific goals is to have a plan for where you want your life to go. Now, as silly as this may sound, here's what you must do. Sit down with one of these and some paper and write down what you'd like your life to look like, what the end result would be. Maybe do it for 5 years from now, and then 10 years from now, and then maybe at age 65. Right? You say, 5 years from now, this is what I want my life to look like. 10 years from now, this is what I want my life to look like. And when I'm 65, this is what I want my life to look like. And write down, where would you live? How would you live? Who would you live with? Who would your friends be? How would you dress? What would you drive? What kind of home would you live in? What would it be decorated like? Would you have a pool, not a pool? Dog, not a dog? You know, what would your health and wellness look like? What would your body look like? What would, you know, all of these things. Write all of these things down. Because as you're doing this, what's happening is you're creating a picture in your mind. And maybe for some of us, it'll be the first time in our lives that we will have a crystal clear image of where we would like our lives to go. And you will be absolutely blown out of the water at how quickly your life will begin to transform in that direction once you've identified it. And it's been shown and proven and talked about in every personal development book on the planet. See, I'm not making this stuff up, right? So have a plan and then figure out what you're willing to give up to get it. Start sacrificing, start working, go to work. Make it a great day.